All right. Good morning, everybody. It is June 8th. It is a Tuesday, and we're going to go over our pre-market analysis for the S&P 500. In front of me, I have the S&P futures chart. This is the 5-minute chart, just what I happened to open up to today. And we'll take a look and see, what we got going on here. So yesterday was kind of a mixed day, right? It was really sort of an inside range day. And then towards the end of the day, things started to look more bullish, right? We sold off a bit in the morning, but nothing major. Just came back to the bottom of the range that we had been in overnight. Kind of bounced off the overnight lows area, and then we sort of took our way back up to the top, really right back up to overnight highs. Nothing too crazy, right? And this was this little red line here. This was our key area of interest. You can see we initially sort of rejected off that, blew through it a little bit, came back down, came right back up to it early this morning. And then what's interesting is we had this huge, this all happened in like one giant 15-minute candle, kind of came down and bounced off this low. This was actually just the top of a channel that we had drawn. We'll see that on our larger charts if you're not familiar with the analysis that we've been doing up to this point. And so those levels were, worked out pretty good. Good for trading off of. And, things are looking promising. I put a message out in our trade group at the close yesterday that said things looked good for continuation for me. And I'll just show you real quick why. My daily volume profile doesn't seem to be working today. That's okay. Probably just need to re-add it from the chart. And you can get a decent feel of that. You can see that yesterday, where's yesterday? Here's yesterday. So with the session volume, it picks up the overnight stuff too. So there's a bunch of trading up here overnight. Most of our volume was obviously down here, both from the overnight session, but also during the day session, right? We kind of came down and then spent a bunch of the afternoon down here. I had some people trading live with me. We caught two nice shorts coming down here in the morning. So that was pretty nice. And then we sort of knew to stay out through this stuff. And as we came back up, the reason that I said things were kind of promising to me, I'm going to remove this session volume. I'm going to use the fixed range volume tool. And I'm just going to capture the open session, right, the cash session. And as price came back up here towards the close, the reason that I said it was promising for continuation is that we have this nice elongated volume profile where there was a decent amount of volume starting to build here. Most of this is from this afternoon stuff right here. So there was not a lot of volume in this initial impulse down. But in the afternoon, we did show some price acceptance coming back up here. Now, this bulge down here, that's another reason that I was optimistic, because this bulge is indicative of closing out short sales, right? And then the entry of new sort of longer time frame long positions, right? So maybe not day traders, but maybe people intending to hold overnight. That's indicative of that down in this lower area. Sort of, it's a good place to buy. And then as we came back up, there's two things we could see. One is we could see another huge bulge up here. And if we saw that, that would be really indicative of, again, profit taking by the longs. And then the entry of new shorts. But we didn't see a huge bulge. The other extreme would be virtually no volume building on this top end, which would mean that we're basically just probing sort of excess prices, and we can expect things to fall to where all the volume was. But the fact that we came up here and this volume profile just sort of stretched out, and we didn't get a huge bulge, but we started to get some like more even distribution up here. And that's usually a sign that there's going to be some continuation. And sure enough, I almost wish I would have just taken a long position overnight when I posted that, maybe on the micros or something, because overnight, we had a nice continuation upwards. So that was pretty much what we expected. And then, this little probe down, probably just a stop hunt, or maybe there was some news that came out. I haven't checked the news calendar yet today. But this didn't last. The fact that it came down and went right back up, this is just a spike down, whether it's a stop hunt or just some liquidation. Either way, nothing that we're really too concerned with. And again, if you look at that move, you'll see that there's probably just not a lot of volume in that move itself, right? So see how it's just very thin down here? So it's just a good sign that this was just excess, just liquidation. And so we ratcheted right back up, and things are looking pretty bullish today. I think as long as we stay above these levels, so the top of this channel is about 42.30 or so, and we really want to start building some value up there. and at least start to stay above some of these other key levels. I'm going to start taking some of these off now because we're going to have new, fresher levels as we get into the day. And the one thing that I do want to point out to just still be a little bit cautious about is that, while things are looking good and this is starting to look like a breakout, we want to make sure that it is like it's here to stay, right? And if we look at this, we still have very thin trading up here. So until we start to build more price acceptance up above these levels, we still have to be really wary that we could return down to either of these levels. Now we have two relatively high volume areas. Down here is the highest volume, but this is definitely nothing to shake a stick at here. So this is an area that, I would certainly want to be aware of where price could return, right? We could get a little retest in there. So things are looking good. It's looking like we're wanting to continue to push up here, but I still would just exercise a little bit of caution. And of course, we're still looking at a very narrow time frame right now. So we're still really looking at our just our 5-minute chart, but we're going to zoom out in a second and look at some of those bigger charts as well. Just take a look at this. So again, same kind of thing. We might need to return, test some of these higher volume areas in here, but this is not like a really significant consolidation, but might be something that we want to have some level of awareness of, to just grab some of that right there as a potential level that we can return to and look for a reversal off of as we approach the opening bell here. Let's zoom out a little bit though and just see what we see, because we've been watching a lot of these channels and such for quite a while. And so, we had this teal channel that we finally are really holding above. So I think I can kind of call that one dealt with. And then this was really from the 4-hour, this purple channel. You can't really see the top end of it because it's the same as our white channel, which is our larger. Basically, this is our long-term, right? As long as we are above the bottom of this white channel, long-term wise, we're still bullish. So this purple one's just kind of the top of that. This is kind of the top end of this sideways range that we're in. And this consolidation up here, to me, looks like it's getting ready for the next push up. So at this point, I'd be more surprised to see us kind of fall back down. And so I keep saying I am cautiously optimistic. I think we look good for a rally. I have some hedges on using Nasdaq that if price continues to look good up here, see how we're building some nice volume? Like this doesn't just taper down to nothing. We're starting to build some decent volume up here. Previously, we had like very little volume. We just had the sellers that jumped in here and a little bit here. So as long as we can kind of hold up here and build more value up here, then I think we should be kind of good to go. So, that's sort of what we see. I did notice yesterday that the patterns seem to be playing out most cleanly on this 2-hour chart, sort of what I was watching yesterday for some of these moves. You see we had that spike down, and this was 3 days ago, and we just kind of been bouncing around this area and then back up into here. And on this 2-hour chart, you can really see these, the swing down, the swing up, the swing down, the swing up, the swing down. Didn't even make it to the point of control this time. And then we had that, that spike down, but that's sort of an anomaly. And then we're working our way back up. I don't like this tail up here, but we're still pre-market. And so when the real volume starts to come in, over the next 30 minutes or so, and I really want to see us, again, building volume above this yellow line. So this is 42.33. I really want to see us building volume, building value up here. Okay, that's going to be pretty crucial for me if I'm going to continue to play this to the long side, because otherwise, we've been in this lot of sideways action and we're still just kind of at the upper end of it. I mean, this is our previous high right here. I'm going to just mark this off. And, that's something that we definitely want to know about. That previous high is something we want to know about. And we're just rejecting off it right now. I think there's a decent chance we push through it. We just want to be aware. Okay, just want to be aware. Let's look at one more thing. I think the analysis can be pretty quick today because we haven't had a lot of change like over the past 2 days, right? Everything's been kind of the same. Let's just get rid of this for a minute. Let's pull back up that session volume here and just take a look-see. So our value from yesterday, right? Our value area from yesterday was basically here to here, right? And so right now we are opening well above yesterday's value, and actually we're opening above yesterday's entire range. And so that to me means, or is, makes it more likely, I think, that we can expect potentially a bullish trending day today. So I'd be watching for that. The only reason I would say we don't get a bullish trending day is if we end up in a very narrow range and we end up really just kind of gyrating. We might probe the highs, we might probe down below these lows, but I would think at this point that we either kind of do something like this for a while and just sort of build our balancing area before we take off to the upside. Or I think we just take off to the upside basically right out of the gate today and expect a bullish trending day. Could we come down bearish again? I mean, sure we could, but look at what happened here, at about 6:30 this morning, popped down and buyers came in and ate that up real quick. So I just don't see that happening. It could happen. Anything could happen in the market, but my money's on a bullish trending day or a range day that, the brackets of the range are going to be, 42.37 down to 42.32 or so. But I don't think we'll stay totally within that. I would expect us to probe those a little bit, maybe go down to 42.30 and up to 42.40. I mean, we could have easily a 10 to 15 point range day and just play it, from the highs and lows. So that's the kind of stuff I'm watching for today. Of course, I do have my hedges on Nasdaq. And so definitely got to keep an eye on that. Nasdaq's looking good, but we do have these resistance areas up here. So I'll zoom out so you can kind of see where this is all coming from. Let's get out to that 2-hour chart. I've got so much stuff going on in this chart. Let me just get rid of some of this noise a little bit. I haven't cleared my drawings on NASDAQ in a while, and it's a little bit messy. But we have basically this red line here was the highest traded area in this entire balancing zone. And what that tells you is that if institutions were distributing their inventory up here and getting ready for this push down, that this is where the average price was, that the bulk of their sell orders were placed. And if that's the case, then this is an area that we would expect, we'd expect buyers to get a little bit nervous and maybe exit their longs or be cautious about taking new longs. But also, if this is an institutional play, that we would expect maybe some defense of these levels. And that's exactly where we are right now. So we'll just have to see how the market's dealing with that. This also is our previous, again, higher time frame bracket. I kept it off this high because we probed it here, but not very convincingly. So I definitely want to still be aware of this level because we tried, right? We tried here and sort of failed. So the high here is still important. That's why I captured it in this red channel as well. And then this supply zone up here, this gray rectangle and the red there. So probably, I would say that if we get through this stuff today, I'm going to close my hedge. I can always re-enter it up here at a better price. And then again, if we really push to new highs, I can close it again. But I don't really want to hold all that risk through this whole move. That would be just too much damage to my account. But the hedges were good to have on because there was a chance that we could have rejected hard from this. And I just wanted to be prepared for that. And so we'll see how the day plays out today. Again, on a 2-hour chart, you can see the patterns clearly, especially with the control candles, which is one of our custom indicators that our members get. And when basically we can use the control candles to help us identify the dominant time frame, the best time frame to use. We get these nice smooth transitions of color changes representing the highs and lows, and then it helps us to identify the highs and lows. And this is basically where we're at. So you can see we kind of came up, retraced, came up again, retraced right off the top of that during the overnight, and then we're pushing bullish again. So again, what could happen here on the NASDAQ is we could sandwich here, and we could go sideways today. But I do think it's more likely that we actually take a decent push to the upside. And again, some of that, if we look at volume, we can see some of that. We want to make sure that we're seeing volume starting to accumulate up here. And you do see some of it starting to build a little above these levels. We need to see more price action taking place. Again, most of this is in the post market, so we don't expect a ton of volume. But as the cash session opens and more volume comes in, we want to see volume building here. If we don't see volume building up here at these levels, and enough to support a push through this resistance, then I would expect us to return back down, test some of these lower levels. We could even test some levels down here still that that never really got retested, right? So there's definitely going to be, from this push, some stuff down here that perhaps the market would like to deal with, and we would like to be aware. So again, sort of expecting a bullish day on the Nasdaq as well, or a range day above the sort of previous balancing area here. So a range day really above 13,785. If we do fall down, we're either going to test some of this smaller time frame stuff in here again, right? It's certainly a possible thing for us to do, is test like this 13,745 area, or I think it's absolutely possible that we come all the way back down to 13,535 if we're going to come back down to retest those levels. Not sure we need to. This to me just looked like a spike down and was already just mitigating some of these other imbalance areas that had to be mitigated. So my bias is definitely neutral, but on the bullish side today. Definitely, I would say bullish, but slightly neutral. That's probably more accurate. Bullish, but slightly neutral. Hey guys, if you're enjoying the analysis that we're trying to put out pretty much every day, definitely hit subscribe. We're not really trying to sell anything. We're just trying to build a nice community. We do have a chat room that is free to join. It's dpmtrades.com, and then on there you can find the link to join our Discord group. And there is a paid area, but I tell people to start out with just the free. The paid area is sort of like a if you want to thing, especially if you're a newer trader. We have an online course on the website that you get access to with the paid subscription. You get access to our indicators, which again, I don't trade with a lot of indicators, so I don't. To me, you don't have to have the indicators to trade successfully. And you get access to long-term and swing trade alerts when we put them on. I don't do alerts when I day trade because it's too fast, but I do often open up a Zoom room or just use the screen sharing on Discord, and people can day trade alongside with us as well. We mostly trade futures for day trading, and if you're interested in trading futures, especially the S&P 500 futures, which is a very popular trading instrument, then you can join our free room and at least have some other people to bounce ideas off of. And we're not pushy salespeople. I say this every video. I don't run the trade group for income. I run it for fun and community. So you're not going to get zillions of emails from us trying to sell you our new magical system that's guaranteed to earn you zillions of dollars. We are going to try to provide you with a nice community to help you grow and learn and become the best version of yourself and the best trader that you can be, while having a supportive community, because the reality is this stuff is hard. Don't let anybody fool you into thinking otherwise. Trading is difficult, and it's really helpful to have a community that is supportive to help you along the way. So yeah, hit subscribe, visit dpmtrades.com, and yeah, we'll catch up with you next time.